Hello students, welcome to Unacademy. This is me Mohamed Azhar M A, your UPSC CSE educator. We are on the day 8 of the studying the most important 456 topics for the prelims 2026. Without any further delay, here we go with our discussion. So in the last class, we started discussing about the preamble. We have seen about the various terminologies associated with the preamble. Now in today's discussion, we are going to see the legal status and the amendability that have been given for the preamble through various judgments especially. Okay, now talking about the whether a preamble is an integral part of the constitution or not. This question was this was reflected into mainly three cases, starting from Berubari Union case in 1960, then to 1973 Keshwananda Bharati case, and then 1995 LIC of India case. These three cases have given multiple dimensions of whether this preamble is a part of constitution or not. Now, talking about the Berubari Union case of 1960, what was this case about? Because this was a region in West Bengal which was later given to the Pakistan. So now what was the issue about? See, the people or the party was telling, see, the preamble is telling the authority is belonging to the people. Yes, the preamble is telling what? Yes, the ultimate authority is with the people, right? Now, if that ultimate authority is with the people, then how can you actually take up an area, or how you can actually give up an area where these people are belonging? So this is actually mentioned in the preamble. That was the argument. Now in the Berubari Union case, Supreme Court said that yes, maybe it may be reflected, whatever you are telling may be reflected in the preamble, but you have to understand one thing, that is just the key to the minds of the makers, and we cannot consider preamble as a part of the constitution. So this was observed in the Berubari Union case. So Berubari Union case was basically because of that Berubari region in the West Bengal, which was actually given by a to Pakistan. So because of which actually the other party have actually argued that how it is possible, it is unconstitutional because preamble have said it. Okay, so in Berubari, court said that no, it is not part of the constitution. Now in the second case, which was very relevant, that of the 1973 Keshavananda Bharati case. So what was this case about? So he was basically a religious leader from Kerala who actually challenged the land reforms. Because of the land reforms, many of his possessions were taken by the government. Okay, now he said that it is something that the preamble is something that he put forwarded, and he said that, see, basic structure doctrine, Keshavananda Bharati case is also known for the basic structure doctrine. So the argument was that, see, as per the preamble is a part of the basic structure of doctrine. Thus, in Supreme Court observed that yes, it is a part of the constitution. Preamble is a part of the constitution. And now in 1995 LIC of India case, again the Supreme Court reiterated that yes, it is an integral part of the constitution. So only in the Berubari Union case, Supreme Court had to say that it is not a part of the constitution. It later in 1973 through Keshavananda Bharati case and in 1995 LIC of India case, Supreme Court have said that yes, this is a part of the constitution. So this is the legal evolving of the preamble perspective. Now talking about the source of power, yes, it is not something, it is not an either of source of power to the legislature nor a prohibition on its powers. Is it justiciable? No. You cannot go to court to enforce the preamble's provision. That is what it is being pointed out in the Berubari case. And we have already said it in the amendment history of the preamble. The preamble was only amended once, that is in 1976. There is a high probability that it is a very easy thing that everyone should remember. but it can be asked in the examination also. Now we are going to see the first four articles of our constitution, which talks about the union and its territories. So article 1, as you know, it defines India as a union of state and it is specifying territories, where article 2 talks about how the parliament actually have the power which is given by the constitution to establish new states. Article 3 talks about making the internal adjustments, and article 4 talks about the addresses amendments that are related to supplementary matters related to article 2 and 3. Now we'll go in detail. Now article 1 talks about the name and the type of the polity. Now you can see that in the constitution, India, that is a Bharat. This is what the usage have been put in the constitution. Now the question here is, why Bharat, or why not only India? See, Bharat is something that is carrying our civilizational identity along with it. So we have a large root, a deep root of tradition and culture. For example, Vishnu Purana, Mahabharata, all these were mentioned. So in the context, since this is mentioned as India, that is Bharat, it actually reflects the accommodative principle. Yes, the Bharat is also accommodated, as well as India is also accommodated. See why India was, we were not able to give up on India, for the very simple reason, once we were about to get free independence, and after that this name India was already recorded in many of the international records. So we have to maintain with the both. That is why in the article 1 we says India, that is Bharat. Now we call our India, that is our Bharat, as a union of state rather than a federation of a state. There is a difference between two, even though it may look like similar. Now what is the difference? See, the difference here is, see, union of state means which is something that states are coming, whereas federation of state, which you can see in USA, this Indian Federation, the Indian Federation that or India we see here, it is not an something like an agreement that is made between. Once they are into the part of our country, they are the part and parcel of our country. But whereas in US, it is different, right? In India, states have no right to go away. Once they are part of our country, then there is no way to go off. But it is different in US. So we are called as union of state, which means states cannot go. Once you are there, they are always part of this union. But federation of state is different with that of US. You can see it is not the same way in which is practiced in India. That is what the name says, India, that is Bharat, union of state. Now talking about the territory. Now territory of India is a wider term. Why territory of India is a wider term? See, union of India, territory of India, this these two things you may interchangeably use, but there are some differences. For example, when we call union of India, it just includes the states and the you know, the geographical union territory, but the area. But when we call territory of India, it includes states, union territories, as well as, see, in the future there might be some area that we might acquire in the future, so those areas may also come under the territory of India. Got it? So this is the difference. So territory of India is a wider expression than the Union of India, where Union of India includes only the state, but in territory it is having state, union territories, and any territory India might acquire in the future. This is very important to understand the key differences of both the things. Got it? Now coming to the next one, see how it is possible for India to acquire territory as per the international law. It is nowhere mentioned in the constitution, be very clear. But as per the international law, there are some methods which are actually set so that the countries can actually acquire some other territory. But at the same time, you have to understand, among this conquest or subjugation, these were already banned by the international bodies or organizations itself. Now what is the first method? First method is cession. Cession means, you know, through treaty, through purchase, as a gift or a lease, or a plebiscite. So plebiscite, when you say, you can say Goa is an example. In 1961, Goa came part of India through the plebiscite. Now, another thing is something called a occupation. This is very important. So occupation, you also call it as terra nullius. Terra nullius. So terra nullius means a land belonging to no one. There is no one actually having the authority or authorization of that land. In the earlier days, many Pacific islands were actually acquired by several countries through this way. But occupation in these days, it is not possible, because almost every region and every area got their own sovereign head, or the head of their state. But and the other one is conquest and subjugation, which means that through war actually, or using some force, you are actually taking some country with you. This was actually prohibited later by the United Nations itself through their United Nations Charter under Article 2A 2.4, section 2.4, it is prohibited. So this one, even the UN itself have actually prohibited, that is through conquest, through wars, you are actually conquering the area of some other. Now the article 2, 3 and 4 is talking about the alteration of the map. So there is a difference. Altering the map is having a different meaning. Now let's start with article 2. So article 2 is talking about the admission of the new state, which means Parliament is empowered by the Constitution to admit or establish new state that were not previously part of the Union of India. For example, a foreign territory. So if you want to make it a part of our country, Parliament is empowered to do that. Now article 3, which is very important because of one reason, that recently Kerala's name had got changed to Keralam. So that was in the current affairs context. So for you also it becomes important. Article 3 talks about the internal reorganization, which means that changes you are happening or making to the existing states of the union. Now what all Parliament can do under article 3, this is important. As per article 3, Parliament is authorized to form new states by separation, which means that there were a state, now it is being separated, increase the area, diminish the area, alter the boundaries, or change the name. Okay, now what do you mean by separation? The best example you can say is Telangana, which was formed in 2015. It was actually brought out or carved out from the Andhra Pradesh, right? Now other things in which is they can actually do, that is diminishing the area. So all alteration. So alteration means, the best example is Jammu Kashmir or Ladakh. Okay, now changing the name, the best example is Kerala, which recently occurred, right? Now the India, it was called as indestructible union of the destructible state. This was actually given by D.D. Basu, whereas in US it is just the opposite, indestructible union of the indestructible states. Okay, so this is the different, and who gave this concept? That is D.D. Basu. That is D.D. Basu gives this particular power. Okay, now see, when a state is reorganized, which schedule will get updated? That is the another thing. That is the first schedule. And if any change you want to bring under article 3, does it require constitutional amendment? No, it didn't require the constitutional amendment, but the schedule 1, where the list of the state of and UTs will be there, that will get changed, because the new state have to be, or the UT has to be added. And I already said you, to article 2 and 3, whatever the changes we are bringing under article 2 and 3 doesn't require the constitutional amendment under article 368. It can be just passed by a simple majority. Okay, a simple majority is sufficient. Now in this cases, article 3, where the states matters will come, it can be separated, or creating or carving a particular area and creating or changing the name, or any changes you bring with reference to the state, this has to be or can only be introduced with the president's prior permission. Got it? Now what happens? Once it has been reached to president, he will refer this to the state. Okay, for they will ask the legislature of the states to give their views, and this must be, the states are actually compelled to give their view within a specific time. Now the question is, did this specific time upon which the state have to give back the view or the review on the particular bill which is having impact on their state, is there any specific time that has been mentioned in the constitution or not? No, it is not mentioned in the constitution. Okay, but this president can actually from time to time, as per the situation prevails, if it is to be done very urgently, president may give some very limited time. So that is completely upon the president, but constitution as such is not saying that within this specific time there should be something that we have to return the bill. Okay, now the question here is, if the state is giving some opinion, is it binding on the president or the parliament? No, they can either accept it or reject it. This also shows the unitary feature of the government, which means that we are consulting, as a federal system, we are consulting the state, we are seeking their opinion, but at the end of the day, if their opinion is something against the national interest, then the parliament or the president is not bound by the opinion, or they don't want to go away with that opinion given by the state government. Okay, now what about union territories? No need to refer the bill to the legislature of a UT. Be very careful. The statement can be given including state and UT. This bill has to be sent to the legislature. No, for the union territory ka matlab kya hai? It is the complete exclusive area of the central government. So there is no need to send that bill to the legislature in case of UT, but in case of state government, that has to be sent, and president will give a specific time and they will submit back it in the specific time, and whatever the opinion they have given, it is not binding on the president or the parliament. Okay, now secession of the territory, which was widely discussed in the Berubari Union case. Now see, you have two idea. There is two concept here. Parliament's power to diminish the area, which means your country is having this much area, for example, now you are actually diminishing some area, which means you may be giving something, right? Now Parliament's power to diminish the area of a state does not include the power to give away Indian territory to a foreign country, which means that you can do the internal adjustment, you can diminish the area, but if you are giving a particular area of our country to some other country, this actually requires constitutional amendment. You imagine logically, see, you are giving a part of our country, and how you can actually pass it in a simple majority. So be very clear that to cede a territory, a constitutional amendment is required under Article 368. Okay, now one more angle is there. There is a boundary dispute. So that boundary dispute ka specific meaning is what? That boundary or that area is not exclusively belonging to anyone, because that is not, as of now, we have not calculated that particular area in our map, right? Now that dispute area where one or two countries are actually claiming over it. Now if this dispute has been resolved, then we are actually giving that disputed area goes to some other country, then no need of constitutional amendment. Why? Because in the previous case, we are actually ceding a territory, means that part was actually part of our map, our geographical territory. Now you are giving it, means everything has to be changed, the map has to be changed. So a lot of changes will happen in the constitution as well as the physical geography. But settling a boundary dispute means that area is not part of our map as well as their map. So there was a dispute. Now once the dispute is done, and if the international mechanism said that okay, this much area will go to that country, for that purpose, if you are giving up, it can be just done with an executive action. You don't want to go for any kind of constitutional amendment. Now the evolution of the state, we know 1947 to 1951, that 4 years of gap actually created a lot of discussion and debates on the formation of the state. So this formation were classified into four-fold classification. First one, part A, governance provinces of the British India, princely states with legislature, chief commissioners provinces and some princely state, and part D, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now, the most important thing is about there were 3 committees appointed in within the short span of time, which actually recommended few things. The first such commission was under Dhar, who was a Allahabad High Court judge, who later became the chairman of this Dhar Commission. So this Dhar Committee in 1948, they vehemently opposed the creation of the state based on the language. The reason is very simple. We are into very 1948, 1947. This time we had seen bloodshed in India. We have seen that communal clashes. So we don't want to have any other internal disturbances because of the creation of the state based on the language. So Dhar Commission rejected it. Then came JVP. J means Jawaharlal Nehru, Vallabhbhai Patel and Patabi Siddharamaiah Committee. They also stood with the decision of the Dhar Commission. They also, yes, rejected the language as the basis. Then it took from 1948 to 53. You can see when the time little bit went more. Our leaders understood, or the commission that was and assigned the duty to study about this, including Fazal Ali, K.M. Panikar and H.N. Hunsru, they understood the situations are now different. If we are not accepting this demand, actually at that time, there was a hunger strike done by the Poti Sriramulu for the Telugu region. So he died and, things are getting more disturbed. So this was the point where the Fazal Ali Commission, for the first time, they said that, yes, they accepted language as the basis, but they rejected one language, one state. For example, whoever is speaking Telugu, one state, whoever is speaking Hindi, one state, that they rejected. Be very careful. But okay, language can be a basis for that, because it will be easy for the administration, it will be easy for the cultural homogeneity, so administration will be very easy. So considering all these reasons, Fazal Ali Commission recommended, yes, language can be accepted as a basis, but they never went for the one language, one state theory. So what we have discussed, towards the last, we discussed about the various committees or the commissions which were assigned the duty to study how the state formation should happen. Okay, so this started from Dhar Commission. They rejected they rejected based on the language. Then came the JVP committee. It also rejected. JVP means Jawaharlal Nehru. This is very important. Vallabhbhai Patel and Patabi Siddharamaiah. They also rejected. But from 1948 to 53, things have changed. Between that, many strikes and many democratic demand, and Poti Sriramulu was died because of the hunger strike, which actually created a lot of even separationist and extremist tendency in the Telugu regions. So Fazal Ali Commission said, yes, we can have the basis of language, but it should not be like one language, one state theory. So with this, we are coming to the end of this discussion. So we are going to meet in the next session, and I hope you are getting benefit and you are being able to understood all these concepts with clarity, with the logic and the rationale. Wishing you a very happy day ahead. This is me signing out from Unacademy. Let's crack it.